product that's been out for a while, this 10-day detox. Let's talk about detoxification a little bit today. Sound good? So, everyone, welcome to another episode of Flip the Script. And I'm Dr. J, Joey, and my co-host here, Cameron, Cam. So welcome. Thanks for taking the time. Spend a half hour or so with us, and hopefully you'll find something entertaining and maybe even enlightening out of the episode. So let's do the detox, because this is one of those simple things in life. And let's clarify a little bit for people, because I get a lot of questions with detox, like it's going to be this massive, uncomfortable thing to do. And really, in today's world, man, especially with what Standard Process is offering, it's really just too simple not to add into a routine, really a couple times a year, honestly. But at least for some people, last year I ran it in January, sort of as a way to start off the new year, with a lot of people looking for a New Year's resolution to get on the road to health. What an easier way. That's the 21 day, which is, totally doable and easy. And then, like I say, it's, 3 weeks plus 2 weeks plus one, and you're done. That'd be 21 days. But this new program that you and I have both done this.
Yeah,
detox,
I like this.
Man, and it is just so easy to do. And you don't have to change anything really about your daily routine. You just add this in.
So what are some of the immediate benefits that people will see from this? Like, say, something that they'll notice immediately versus long-term benefits.
Well, energy. How about that for one?
I've definitely noticed that.
Yeah, and then like I said, the simplicity of that, it's cleaning out the system, but the clarity associated with the detoxification, a lot of skin conditions almost instantly, and we'll go over that in detail. Okay. Because a cleanse and detox, by its very nature, the approach is a healthy approach, right? And we like to think of prevention of disease in the first place, and what a better way to start. The sad thing is that in today's sick care system, as I call it, most doctors just don't learn the detox, our understanding of a detoxification, because it's a natural approach to a way of healing, right? So sadly, it's not implemented in most physicians' protocol for treating so many of these, especially like we talk about these 80% plus metabolic symptoms. This is a great place to go. Because if you think about it, all sickness and disease starts with infestation, which leads to infection, which leads to inflammation. So of those three, if you think about it, a detox protocol addresses all three of them. How powerful is that, right? So it's just a simple way to go about it. And what I love about this particular one that we just started, this 10-day cleanse protocol, it's just easy. You just basically make a shake one time a day. In the protocol, it increases to 2 shakes a day over a 10-day period, and you're done. And the beautiful thing about it, Cameron, as you remember, it comes with this how-to book, which is real simple to follow. It gives you some ideas, some recipes, some recommended food choices to use. But like I expressed with my 21-day cleanse, a lot of people think, okay, it's a weight loss program. No. It's a detox program. Are you going to lose weight? If you have weight to lose, yeah, chances are very high that you're going to, especially that first week. It's not uncommon to see 5 pounds easily in the first week. What's 5 pounds look like on fat people? We got it on the table. So think about that. In my 21-day cleanse, you can lose anywhere from 2+ of these. But in that 10-week, chances are this is coming off. This is 5 pounds of fat. Kind of gross, right? Boom. So 10 days. Wow. Gone. So, and also with a lot of my patients, with the cleanse and the detox, a lot of times my patients will come in, and sometimes I like to dig deep into what's going on more than just, of course, more than their symptoms. And a great way to do that is what I have. It's called a symptom survey. Mm-hmm. And if sometimes with the symptom survey, I may be looking at 4 or 5 different things that are all related to that inflammation and that toxification. So a lot of times I will start them on this program, and that'll wipe out 2 or 3 of the symptoms that were initially present that now we really don't have to treat with other supplementations. So it's a great place to start just for overall health. And, when you look at the people who can benefit and what a detoxification protocol is beneficial for, I mean, it's never ending, really. So if you think about it, so people ask me, why do I need to detox? What causes toxification to the body? What doesn't? When we've talked about it in seminars, in these podcasts, we talked about the fact just taking a shower every day, if you don't have a filter on your water system, you got fluorine, chlorine, and bromine, 3 toxins, right, that are toxic, what we call halogens. They're going to get into the skin. That's an ideal place to start, right? Hey, hormone replacement therapy, testosterone, I use. When you use a synthetic testosterone, the body builds up metabolites. I detox daily, usually in a capsule form, because why not? It's so simple for me to do. Why wait every year or so to do so? So I just take a couple capsules, or since this product's come out, you and I both did this protein drink. It's very simple. I use it in my smoothie in the morning. Boom, and I'm done, right? So that's one. Birth control, another thing that creates toxicity over a period of time. Most people are unaware of this, but women who use birth control for even a couple of years, but certainly some of them, 4, 5, 10 years, right? When they do decide they want to have children, some of them literally, it takes them years to detoxify so that they can become fertile enough to be able to conceive. So we don't think about this because we're consuming them daily. One of the worst medications on the planet for creating toxicity is your statin cholesterol lowering drug. And how many people do we know by about the age of 40 or 50 that are on a statin drug? So those metabolites, as they build up over time, like I write about in my first book, it's almost cellular suicide, people. The toxicity is so bad. So again, when we look at why wouldn't you? Not to mention skin disorders. So a lot of my patients that come in with skin disorders, whether it's eczema, psoriasis, this is the best place to start. And it's so simple, because what I like about this 10-day cleanse is that unlike the 21-day where there's a handful of supplements to take, they put it all in there. So it's all in there, shake form, done, and the cost is less than $100.
I think that's really important, because just whenever I've had a buddy over and he sees me taking all my different vitamins and stuff, he's like, that's ridiculous,
for a lot of people, because they don't comprehend what they're doing.
Well, it's like I started off with 3, and then I went to 4, and then I went to 5, right? Mm-hmm. But with this, you're just starting with 1, So I think that's what's super easy, and it doesn't taste bad at all. People think it would. It actually tastes kind of good.
Matter of fact, some of my patients say that they almost get addicted to that, especially that vanilla one. All right.
See, what flavor is this one?
That's that
chai flavored.
Yep, chai flavored.
I love
I like it because it's a nutty flavor. I do too.
Yeah.
So I love it as well. And also too with that, there's powerful antioxidants in there. This thing has the methyl donors in there, which is major prevention of cancer. It's great for post workouts. A lot of people are into these super green foods now. The super green drinks. The energy drinks.
Yeah, AG1.
It's in here.
And all
That's
that.
right.
Yeah,
it's in there.
If y'all are familiar with
you're getting
AG1,
it all in one.
Yeah, this is like AG1 on steroids, crack, and everything else. This is insane. It's organic pea protein, flax meal, organic oat flour, organic. It says organic before every single ingredient,
Right,
which is
of
super.
course, everything.
So
That's the key.
I'm not even gonna repeat that word, but it's like it's everything. Look, buckwheat flour, organic beet leaf juice powder, buckwheat again, apple, pectin, juniper.
Yes.
I mean,
So
it's
I got a methyl donor in there as
it's
well. I've got antioxidants powerful in there. It's just super detoxification.
milk thistle.
And I really can't get much simpler than that. And so, okay, the other thing is, all right, who's going to benefit from it? Well, you asked me that earlier. And of course, we talked energy, right? But what about inflammation? So let's take the inflammation, joint pain, right? One of the things within just a couple of days on that, a lot of my patients will report that a lot of the inflammation in the joints are already starting to improve. And again, because you have the cruciferous supplementation in there, you're also going to get the sulfur byproduct, which is great for arthritic related issues. So again, I mean, it's such a great product. It's almost a no-brainer. We talked about skin disorders. Another thing, detoxification, why? In my first book, I talk about blood pressure. You got your primary high blood pressure, which is associated with when you're active, right? If you're playing in a sport, stress will also increase the blood pressure. In traffic, whatever it might be, a stressful situation. But that's a primary blood pressure. That will typically drop once the situation that you had to adapt to that really required the adrenals to, release the.
So say an environmental.
Bingo. So yeah, so that's natural. It's the secondary high blood pressure issues that I write in my book. Find out what these are and get them under control so you can come off of the blood pressure medication. Secondary is usually, think first, the liver, hepatic hypertension, the kidneys, renal hypertension, right? What are these? These are filters. So how about a detoxifier of those filters? What a great way to probably get that causation of that elevated blood pressure under control off your medication. Something as simple as this. Again, I understand a lot of people in the allopathic healthcare don't look at causation or prevention or the relationship to the diet to why they're treating a particular symptom. This is what I want people to think about. Find that answer. Get off of that medication if you can. Use it if you need to in the acute phase. But for the chronic use of this over a long period of time, the toxicity associated, besides the fact of the loss of the get up and go, the side effects of these medications for most people are life-changing in a very negative way. So if it's hepatic, renal, again, if I got a filter system, I change the oil filter on my car, don't I, right? Why wouldn't I change the filter system on my body somewhere during time? Most of us don't think about it. What a simple way to do it. And if my blood pressure is associated with either renal or hepatic, right, liver or kidney, what a great way. The other one, of course, then we have other causes, which can be, plaquing of the arteries and things such as this. But then again, this also helps with that because of the supplements and the antioxidants in there as well. Again, so.
I actually have a story about something.
Who
like
doesn't
that.
need it? Allergies, another great thing. A lot of my patients with allergies, here's an underlying cause right here.
That's
Clean the
interesting.
system out, boom, off the medications. Beautiful thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I was a personal trainer back in college, and there's this guy, he had been trying keto, and he'd lost probably 50 pounds, was doing really good. And this was all before I started training him. But he was telling me, he's like, dude, I used to be a lot heavier than this and whatever. He's like, but I played football in high school, and I've always been athletic.
Active, right.
Right. So he was like, I had to stop doing keto, though, because my blood pressure was high. So my doctor told me I had to stop doing keto. And my boss was like, you cannot, under any circumstance, give anyone any nutritional counsel or advice. And I'm sitting over there, like, trying to hold my tongue. I'm like, this is terrible, because he basically just got on a blood pressure medicine and stopped doing what was working to lose the weight. And he's like, I'm kind of stagnant now. And I'm just like, okay, well, but if he had come and seen you and all this stuff, he would have gotten that blood pressure handled, and you know what I mean, with organic ways, and he could have continued to do the diet that worked well for him. And
how old was he?
He was probably mid-30s.
Okay.
Maybe 40 max.
Yes. Well, now in today's world, this is what we're starting to see. It's almost like this, I don't know if it's a rite of passage for so many people, but usually around that time, you start looking at the blood pressures, medication, and then 50 along comes the cholesterol. And next, 60s, rite of passage, here's your sugar handling problem, here's your type 2 diabetes, here's your metformin, right? It's not, it's natural in today's society, and it's sad because it doesn't have to be that way. And, it's like I write in my first book too. So again, blood pressure, sometimes the blood pressure is elevated for a reason that is positive. So you have to you have to find that relationship of where it's still healthy. Not everybody can run around and be 120/80 for a male, especially if you weigh 300 pounds. You have much more capillaries that have to be filled with blood, oxygen to the brain. These things have to be considered. And the same thing with females. Not everybody can run around with the same blood pressure. It's not healthy for everybody to try to be in the same blood pressure. But when you have this cookie cutter designed by, powers that be, perhaps the pharmaceuticals that say, hey, we want everybody here because of the financial gain for that, right? Look into other considerations. And again, if it's detoxification over time, what a simple way to do it. Cleanse the system out, right? Make it easier on your body to do the things that it naturally wants to do. Remember, your cells on the inside want to be healthy whether you do or not. But here's a simple way to do it. And, well, am I going to be running into the bathrooms all the time? I get this question on this protocol, Doc. No, you're not. It's going to simplify it. Most people, another sign of the need for a protocol for detoxification is if you're not having regular bowel movements. There's a sign right there, people. And it's kind of sad. I found over the years that some people think that it's normal to go days without a movement. And like I say in my book, if you're not moving every day, you have an intestinal issue. Okay? I'm sorry, people. This is Fact Jack. The body is designed, like I say, also we talked about it in my book earlier, between 4 o'clock in the morning and noon. That's all it's really supposed to be doing. And I mean, sometimes multiple times. So again, who really couldn't benefit from taking 10 days, 21 if you really want to go a little deeper, and cleanse the system and be done. And, that's that easy. And again, you're not really changing a lot on your diet. You naturally clean up a couple things, right? But 10 days, man, that's a week and a half. And who can't do that?
And I think you had even said if somebody does it and they're on day 9 or 10 and they're like, I don't want to stop, they can just turn this into a 21 day, right?
I mean, hey, because of what's in that product there, it actually cuts out about 5 supplements for me every morning. So I love that. I'll mix that in with my smoothie every morning as part of I like a little more protein than it has, but it's got 17 grams of protein in it. So for most people, that's adequate. But if if you exercise, work out a lot, you're an athlete, you're going to need a little bit more. If you weigh 200 pounds, you're going to need a little bit more than what that offers. So what I do is I use that, and I use a scoop of my regular protein powder, and I can add that to my daily. I've been doing this for 20-something years. I use a product that detoxes my liver and kidney every day, 5 days a week. Usually on weekends I can take a break, but it's 2 capsules. My theory is why toxify in the first place.
And what's that product? Is that
that's my Livoplex.
That's
Livoplex from Standard Process.
Okay, yeah. So Mom, she takes that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what some of the main properties in Livoplex is in that cleanse.
What about cruciferous? Doesn't that do some of that, or should I be taking
absolutely
a Livoplex?
No, well,
I don't drink, but I know that you said a lot of people are getting fatty liver disease from things. It's not even related to alcohol, so they're confused.
Oh, no.
It's sugar and
most of it's sugar related and fructose, and it's the leading cause. It's over hepatitis now for the leading cause of liver transplants in our country.
Wow.
Yes, that's exactly right. Fatty liver disease, and here's a great place to start with that because again, we're looking at the same thing, that pathway of the detoxification from the first pathway to the second pathway through. Mm-hmm. Are your methyl donors. Okay, so that's where we're talking about the cruciferous complete. Well, this product is loaded with those. That's your kale, your Brussels sprouts, the beet that's in there as well. These are the cruciferous based, and they're also those primary methyl donors, which are very, very powerful for detoxification and longevity, and also blocking those proteins that genetically can predispose us to things like cancers, right? So that's in that product again. So that's why I said when I take this product, I can decrease some of my supplementation. And this product was designed that way. So with the 21-day cleanse, for a lot of people who didn't want to take 5 capsules 3 times a day, well, they put it in there, simplified it. It's almost like this is too easy, people. This is too easy just to make it part of your daily routine. How good can you feel? Energy, clean skin, all the hair, all the positives associated with keeping the body detox. Besides the fact, what the food additives now we're talking about, right? They're taking the red dye out finally, right? You saw that, the FDA. Yeah. I mean, come on. But still, this is an example. These are put in our foods, and with the processed foods, we're toxic.
Well, they're giving Coca-Cola only a certain amount of time to start making Coca-Cola here in the U.S. the same as they do in Mexico and in Europe and stuff, because they use I forget what it was. I actually have a picture on my phone.
Well, that's a good point there. Remember we were talking about the McDonald's the other day and the French fries, and like over in Europe, they used 3 products in that, and over here we have 17. So, I mean, they're all basically fillers and other types of chemicals. So, again, people who, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because
we're all running around toxic due to our environment.
In America, Coca-Cola uses high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
But cane sugar everywhere else.
Is that right? Yeah, high fructose corn syrup is the primary cause of what we're dealing with right now with the metabolic syndrome. The body, the liver, cannot break that down. So it continues to run through the body, I think, for almost a month, maybe even longer than that, because it's so hard for the body to break down that sugar. But, your sugar people want to tell you that they're all the same. So the people who are using this product, like Coca-Cola, want to tell you a sugar is a sugar is a sugar.
Right.
Well, come on. Now, we're not that stupid, really, are we? Yeah, they do. Shut up. Listen. We know. We sell it.
Right.
Listen to us, okay? Dumb us down as they like to do, right? Well, we're through that now.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Kennedy, and let me clarify, I'm sorry, but the last few podcasts, I've been saying Senator Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, I apologize. He is not a senator, but he has, of course, been in politics for so long. So my bad. I'm sure some people have caught that. And again, I do apologize, Bobby Kennedy, for that. But now with him in Make America Healthy Again, it's fantastic. So changes are coming. And hopefully we're on the forefront of that. Certainly, like I always like to say, hey, anything we can do from over here, please let us know. We're over here in Sweet Home, Alabama. And we do have issues. Probably as great as anybody in the country does. So considering that. So with that, too, that thought, people, when's a good time to start a detoxification program? People, start it early, okay? If you're in your 20s, 30s, sadly in today's world, and if you're in your teens, what a simple way to go about it, right? We already have obesity problems. A lot of skin disorders, acne, other things associated with the youth. Another good reason, just the diet. Why not detoxify? A lot of people think, well, once a year, right? Some people haven't done it in their lifetime. I'm an advocate of daily if you can. It's just too simple, right? So, like I like to say, pay attention to your body. When you start a protocol like this, pay attention to it. See how good you feel. This is how you should be feeling. Right? Some people think a good day is just because they don't feel like doo-doo. Find out how you can feel, detoxify, and pay attention. Because if you are in your 20s and you are in your 30s, trust me when I say 60 plus is coming like a bullet, okay? It seems like yesterday I was 30-something. So comes by quicker than you know, and so many people that wind up at my age, it's a tough haul to try to get it back once you've lost it. So hold on to it as long as you can because you deserve it. We are given a fantastic body, most of us, from birth, and we just unknowingly a lot of times trash it out through lifestyle over time. So start now. That's my skinny on detox, brother. What you got?
So the first time I ever did any sort of detox, it wasn't even really, I didn't even do any supplementation with it. I just did, I I started with like a 24-hour fast and then got in, I think, at like 36, 38 hours. But then I did a 4-day. And when I did the 4-day or 96 hours, it's because my cousin did a 5-day. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And then I was like, I'm just going to stop it at 4. But what I did differently is I took all of the supplementation. So before I had only kind of I'd been eating healthy and everything and taking out all the bad toxic foods and whatever. And then I went after that, wasn't eating. But then the difference to when I added in all the extra stuff was it was like, took me from here to here and then from here to here.
Yeah.
Once I added in stuff like this, the cruciferous, catalin, ligoplex, fish oil, all the stuff.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about it. You tend to start thinking a little bit more. The head becomes clearer. And when you see that it's not that difficult, you start adding in a couple more positive things.
Yeah, I actually did start to feel. I was watching one of our other episodes. I think it was the one we released last week, and it was you had said something about negative thoughts, like a B12 deficiency. You'll have like negative thoughts and anxieties. And
Not so much B12, but the B vitamins totally, not just the 12. But
yeah, B
morbid
vitamin
fears.
complex. Yeah,
something bad is about to happen.
It was
yes.
Standard Process's B vitamin complex.
That's right.
And I was taking that, and that is the one that I like threw in that I hadn't had before. And I started taking that and was doing that on my little detox. And I was feeling so good. Yeah. I was like, I don't even want to eat. But
that's my super energy right there.
But
that's
I had no
secret.
energy because I was cutting grass in the summer with Dad and Braxton. I was sweating a ton.
That's right.
And I was like, I need to eat. I was like, but I feel great. You know what I mean?
And that's a great way of detoxing as well, the sweating. So, but like we were talking about, this product is great for putting back those nutrients, minerals especially, that are associated with heavy sweating, right?
You're getting rid of the bad, but go ahead and add the good.
And then putting back in the good right behind it, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So, for a lot of people, a cleanse, a fasting's great, but a lot of people, this can be difficult for them. They're just not into that.
So, some people, their bodies just can't. I'm lucky. My body can kind of handle not eating, but there was this guy, he was like a fitness influencer, jacked, in shape, all this stuff. But literally after like 30 hours, he passed out watching a movie. He wasn't even working out. He just passed out, had to go to the hospital in the movie theater. Some people's bodies just can't really handle
and sometimes they weren't paying attention to signals when they came along. So the other thing, so we were talking about this once, how if you think about it, if we cleaned up 1 meal a day, right? If the average person eats 3 or 4 meals a day, if we just cleaned up 1 meal, how powerful that is.
That's 33%.
That's a 33% improvement in just that one thing that you've done to your daily lifestyle. Well, how simple is this? Because this basically, you put this in a smoothie and it sort of is a meal replacement. So you get a double whammy. One, you've cleaned up your diet 33%. If you're a 4-time or 5-time a day eater like I am, well, then you still clean it up 25%. So how great is that? But at the same time, not only have you cleaned up at least one negative part of your daily routine, but at the same time, you increase the detoxification. So you get a double whammy out of that. You improved 1 meal. And in this protocol, you're going to use that twice, I think, through days 3 through 10. You'll increase it twice a day. So there's 2 meals right there in a day. Now you've just cleaned it up 60-something%. How powerful is that? And just try it for 10 days. What do you got to lose? And and I totally agree with you. For some people, they love this so much that they just go ahead and do it again. So now there's their 20-day cleanse. Well, they've just done the 21-day cleanse because they found how simple it was to start off that way. So it's a great way to get it done, so to say, right? Yeah. So, and again, if you're interested in this, go to my website, www.drjoeyjones.com. Send me the email. We can get you started on the product. Just that easy. If you can find yourself a Standard Process pharmacist, physician out there, hey, get a hold of them, get it from them, and hey, get started. And in 10 days, you're done. Beautiful. So Again, so many of these conditions that are associated with so many of our metabolic related issues, especially, like I said, again, a lot of allergy related issues when you clean the system out. So another very good point is, your liver is designed to basically be able to handle its own natural histamine reactions. So for a lot of people who wind up with histamine related issues, including things like acne, certainly the first place you want to start is free up the liver, right? Clean the filter out so that it can respond like it should to these histamine-related issues and release its own natural antihistamine. That's the secret between needing something like a biologic with all those horrible side effects. Like I saw the other day, including death, all right? Come on, do we have to go that extreme? So this is a really good product for a lot of my patients. Almost all my patients that come in with some kind of autonomic disorder, I like to go with this detox first. Because if it doesn't remove a lot of the symptoms, it certainly decreases the severity of what they're dealing with. And again, we were talking about the inflammation, like Sjogren's and the inflammatory conditions associated with the joints, the skin. So we're putting a fire out naturally without the side effects of these biologics. Because, again, most of those conditions, there's that correlation between the stress that people have gone through and the lifestyle. We talk about the fact that autoimmune disorders went up after 1985, right there with obesity. Obesity went up 200%, autoimmune disorders went through the roof at the same time. The correlation, people, it's not rocket science, it's in our way of life. What a great way to make a change. Beautiful. Cam, you want to add anything to that?
I've got nothing.
Well, I like that one because that's energy. Again, yeah, I love it. So, hey, until next time, I'm Dr. J with Cam, and we're just chilling. Opine if you'd like to. And come visit us again next time on Flip the Script. So until then, as always, have yourself a great day so that you are
not missing one.
Thank you. Till next time.